Straight away come to the session number 3, which is on role of academia in growth of ICT ecosystem. There are lots of things happening across in Bihar, especially in the academia side, and major institutions out here are playing a vital role for establishing an entire ecosystem out here. So we have eminent speakers who have come over here, so especially for this session, and we have Professor Dr. Pritam Kumar from Indian Institute of Technology, Patna. We have Professor D.K. Singh, who is the Dean of R&C, National Institute of Technology, Patna. We have with us Mr. Sanjeevan Sinha, Managing Director, Bihar State Education Infrastructure Development Corporation, Government of Bihar. I would also request Atul Sinha Sahab to please also be a part of this session, as he has been doing lots of activities and initiatives, especially on creating the education ecosystem out here. I would request Dr. Pritam Kumar please come on the dais and have, please sir. I would request Professor D.K. Singh, Dean R&C, National Institute of Technology, Patna, to please come on the dais, please, and take his seat. We request Sri Sanjeevan Sinha Sahab, Managing Director, Bihar State Education Infrastructure Development Corporation, BSEIDC, Government of Bihar. I would also request Sri Atul Sinha Sahab to please be a part of this session and chair this session.
I have met you regarding NABICT workshop.
I'll hand over this session to Sri Atul Sinha Sahab and have a discussion side.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think after lunch, the attendance is not very unexpected. I request that whosoever is roaming outside after lunch, or if people are taking lunch, you can please call them. Friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. We all know that development of any system, any society, heavily depends on innovation, technological innovation in the system. All the developed economies that we have today, whether you talk of US or European countries, they definitely have thrived on the success of their innovations and inventions. They have made huge success, huge capitals, huge fortunes through their innovations and inventions. We all would agree that in innovations and inventions, academia play a very, very important role. Universities, colleges, they come very, very closely with the research institutions, with the industry, and make the products successful, useful for the society, useful for the industry, and that creates wealth for the nation, that creates prosperity for the people. And therefore I say that role of academia for the growth of any ecosystem is very, very important. The interface between academia and industry is very, very important. With this background, I would like to start the discussion of this forum. And first of all, may I request Dr. Pritam to take a start and express his views on this topic. Dr. Pritam, please. You can.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is really my great privilege to speak on this occasion of eBihar. In fact, I am thankful to the organizers. Last time also, I have visited this eBihar meet. Although today I have a fever, but I thought I should not miss this opportunity and interact with different stakeholders. And definitely IIT in Bihar, it was established in 2008. And being from this place and working in other IIT, I thought why not to come to our home state and be a part of this historical move, historical development of IIT Patna. As far as this talk is concerned regarding the role of academia and growth of ICT ecosystem, in fact, any ecosystem, academia is an integral part, because academia is the genesis of any system. And that too, when we talk about this ICT, which is relatively a new paradigm, I can say that last 20 years, there is exponential growth in ICT, particularly in our country. I still remember using a very long mobile handset by Motorola in 1998. And now we can have a very small mobile handset with all the features what a desktop can offer you. So this revolution in ICT is affecting everybody, and I'm really happy to see that even it is affordable to most of the people. I cannot say that it is for poorest of the poor, but it has, this mobile penetration has gone a long way in our country, and this will definitely foster, this will definitely accelerate the growth of ICT in our country. I have just prepared a few slides to make this talk more informative. I am being a part of an IIT, what we use that, we as an engineer we use science to benefit society. In fact, for any academician like me, whether he is from engineering background or science or anything else, the main aim is that we should benefit the society. And the important point, what I would like to mention here is that in current global economy, India is currently hub for IT sector. We all know that due to IT, we are respected, we are recognized worldwide. But our country is going to be the premier hub in ICT and ESDM in much broader way than its IT sector. Because what IT sector has offered us in terms of job, in terms of revenues, ICT and ESDM I mean that electronic system design and manufacturing, which go side by side with ICT. It can offer much more revenue, many-fold employment opportunity in our country compared to IT sector. Now talking about this ICT ecosystem, when you talk about this ecosystem, it is an integrated platform where the market, networks, services, applications and content, and determining governance, legal and regulatory frameworks. So it is an integrated platform where all the stakeholders try to make this system a really efficient system, a working system, which can benefit poorest of the poor. It is not that academia can only stand vertically, government will act independently, the market or the private players, they are working independently. So there should be a synergy between all these stakeholders so that the effectiveness of this ICT is appreciable is to the cost, and definitely it can benefit all of us. Now coming to the second point, this enterprise and government can adapt, innovate and compete in our high-speed wireless world, enabling them to build a knowledge-based economy. Being India is basically a knowledge capital. We don't have lots of dollars with us, but what we have is knowledge. And ICT is all about knowledge. So for our country, the relevance of this ICT is more prominent compared to other country, where with minimum investment, we can leverage the inherent talent of the young pool, young talents, and huge manpower. We are really rich in huge skilled manpower, and the role of academia is very important in creating this huge talented manpower pool, which will be part of this ICT ecosystem. Now, key pillars of the ICT ecosystem is, the most important point is infrastructure investment, because definitely we have to invest a lot in making this broadband or the connectivity to the remotest part of our country, because the benefit of ICT should not be only meant for the privileged one. So definitely it requires a lot of investment. Application and contents. What is happening that we are developing applications in different part, but using these IP-based networks. These networks can be best utilized when the ICT sector consists of localized content and application and has access to global content and applications. So there should be free flow of information, there should be free flow of content development, whatever is being done at different parts, and that can be used with mutual agreement. Definitely markets and competition is very important, because monopoly environments are typically less innovative, because a few companies or few stockholders, if they have the biggest say, that will reduce the efficiency as well as the innovation level. So we have to see that a lot of players should be stakeholders in this ICT initiative. The key pillars of this ICT ecosystem: policy and regulations, government budget, because government has an important role to play, because they have to build this IT infrastructure. Now coming to this skills and education for IT, this best practice countries have a solid base of ICT technical skills and good level of broader science and math education. So here we are a little bit ahead from most of the countries, where we have very solid foundation of science and mathematics, and that is the core in this ICT sector. So ICT, as we know that, we all appreciate that ICT is a high efficient enabler. It can boost eco-sustainability. Education, ICT has enabled tremendous growth in the online education sector. Nowadays, this online education sector has changed the way what we did maybe 10 years ago. Now everything is available online. Only thing is that we need a good broadband connectivity. And we will be able to access thousands of libraries across the globe. E-government, I think we know that if government services are made online for business and citizens, these public agencies become conduits of technology, users of ICT infrastructure, and promoters of ICT services. So e-governance is definitely a very important part of this ICT initiative. Finance, definitely this mobile money, we are using mobile for a lot of financial transactions. Healthcare, I will discuss more in detail about this healthcare. Mobile phones can be used for input of health data that provides real-time information on potential disease outbreaks. So this using simple mobile hand phone, that can be part of this healthcare initiative. So there are three basic channels through which ICT can impact economic growth: through the investment in ICT capital by the business sector, through productive improvements resulting from ICT initiatives in ICT using sectors, and through the contribution of ICT producing sectors, that is equipment and services. So they all will be impacted by this ICT explosive growth. The last point I would like to mention out of these 4 points, that ICT sector has set aside significant amount of private capital to invest in next generation infrastructure and services. So for the growth of this ICT, we have to make our network next generation. We cannot always rely on what is being developed or what is being installed 10 years back, because this network infrastructure in every 5 years or 10 years, it's going to be a bottleneck. So we need to evolve our network to be next generation. So last point, as an ecosystem, the ICT sector is an ever-evolving constellation of players who interact to ensure balance, collaboration, interdependency and sustainability. So we have already discussed that in ecosystem, all the stakeholders should work in tandem. Now, role of academia, the biggest role in academia in this ICT initiative is that it can create an ecosystem for vibrant innovation and R&D in the ICT sector. Because what we do 5 years or 10 years back, they become obsolete. So we need to have an innovative framework, an innovative environment where we can always evolve on whatever we have achieved maybe 1 year back or 2 years back. And I think academia is the best place where all these innovative ideas and R&D's work can be pursued. To develop, strengthen and promote the ICT industry in the country, here I will like to mention that in US and most of the advanced countries, the government or the private players, they all take academia a very potential part of their initiatives. Unfortunately in India, due to this industry academia interaction is very less. What industry is doing, we don't know. What we are doing, they don't know, so there is no synergy. And that is one of the most important bottleneck if we talk about this ecosystem. Right? So if we have to really build this ecosystem or we want to make it very effective, we have to develop very strong academia institute collaboration so that these two parts can foster the growth of ICT. To develop the ICT export services, to become the leader in promoting professionals and quality services in the country, to create partnership with other associations, to promote education and improve high school and university IT curricula. Because IT curriculum or communication curriculum, it needs to be updated every 5 years. Nowadays, earlier we were talking about every 5 years, but now we are talking about every 2 years. But things are changing very fast, and if you want to be very competitive at the global level, our curricula in academia should be upgraded as frequently as possible. I will just give an example because maybe this will emphasize the role of this ecosystem where the collaboration of IT and communication services, that is telemedicine, because nowadays we are talking a lot about this telemedicine. Telemedicine is one of the classic example of ICT. So what we are doing in telemedicine, delivery of healthcare and sharing medical knowledge over distance using ICT. So we all know that in India we have very poor patient to doctor ratio. So how this ICT can help and how this ecosystem will help in bringing this telemedicine a real, in application point of view, how this ICT or telemedicine can be useful. So I have just given a model where this telemedicine, it requires input from biomedical engineering, it requires inputs from communication technology, it requires inputs from medical sciences and information technology. These all parts, it needs an ecosystem where all the role for government, market, academia, industry, everything should come and converge to make this telemedicine an important ICT initiative. We talk about this communication technology. Definitely we need very high data rates for transmission. Information technology, because we need networking of various computers and database management. Medical science, here again this role of academia is important. And biomedical engineering, because we need various medical electronics devices to make this telemedicine a important part. I have just given you a few of the initiatives what Government of India has taken to make this telemedicine a very important ICT initiative, where we are using satellite communication that is being developed by ISRO, whereby using satellite communication we are able to transmit the information from a patient, and that may be at a very remote place, maybe in a remote village, and all the informations can be used, can be transmitted using communication and IT hardware at that remote village, whatever is available, and then by using this satellite communication, it can be transmitted to a specialist doctor, maybe in a big city or maybe abroad, and all these informations can be used to deliver the best service, telemedicine service to a patient in a remote area. So ISRO has developed two types of model, point-to-point system and multi-point-to-point system. So what I am telling that ISRO is totally a government sector, but it needs a lot of initiatives from industry. It needs a lot of initiatives from academia, because at different fronts it requires their expertise, to leverage their expertise and to make this one of the important ecosystem where all these stakeholders have played an important role, and it is really a big success. Now I'm just giving an idea that how by using this cellular technology we are able to provide this healthcare services. For example, we all know that this WiMAX or Wi-Fi everybody is using. So how by using this and using the ICT technology and inputs from all the stakeholders, we are able to make a very simple telemedicine applications where this X-ray image and ECG signal is transmitted over the wireless channel, that is wireless media, from a remote place, and that is being, you can see that this original image is for X-ray, then this embedded image, second one, it is X-ray as well as ECG. So here the technology comes into picture, and this technology is developed not only by academia. Academia has its own input, it has input from industry also, and this embedded image is transmitted through air, and at a remote place, maybe in Patna or maybe in Delhi, these signals are received using this WiMAX channel, and you can see that this recovered image, what we receive at the doctor's end, it must this image may be transmitted from 1000 kilometers, 500 kilometers, we don't know. But using this strong ICT technology, this embedded image of ECG and X-ray that is available to a doctor at a very remote place. This has made feasible not due to input from medical fraternity, or due to input from academia, or due to input from government. This is made possible because there is a very holistic ecosystem. In the case of telemedicine, in the case of ICT, which is made possible, and telemedicine, I can tell you that right now in India it is not very popular, but nowadays we are talking about, we are trying to make it a very important applications of ICT ecosystem. So in conclusion, this implement numerous projects that have to stimulate the competitiveness and growth of the ICT ecosystem, both domestically and abroad. In IT ecosystem, we should implement programs in collaboration with government as well as private sector, working in the field of software development and service delivery. Academic exchange for progress, facilitating academic exchange and capacity building. ICT is a growing need for research and innovation for future. Public services, that will be a catalyst for growth and sustainability. So the role of academia is very critical in this ICT ecosystem. Thank you.
Very much for giving a wonderful insight over the different components of ICT ecosystem and how academia can really come closer to the creation of ICT ecosystem. unfortunately, in our country, this contribution of academia has not been to the required level probably, and probably that is the reason that in our country the innovation and in kind of a thing, scientific development, research and development has been at a low burner till this time. Of course, recently we have been witnessing quite a good advancement and quite a good improvement in academia coming forward, taking lead roles, encouraging innovations, taking up research and development. More and more papers are now being produced from academic institutions, but I believe we have to still go a long way. And here we are fortunate that two professors from IIT Patna, one professor from NIT Patna is already present, and I would request that Bihar, even in others, as compared to other states of the country, Bihar is still at a very backward stage of academia taking part and taking role into the development of ecosystems. And I think this is a very good platform to discuss that how can we take it forward. And in this chain only, thanking Professor Pritham, I am taking it forward by inviting Professor D.K. Singh of NIT Patna, who happens to be a very old friend of mine also, my colleague, my friend, and a very eminent professor with NIT Patna. Welcome him, let us welcome him with claps to listen him on this topic.
Thank you, Atulji. Dignitary on the dais and dignitary of the dais. It is really a great pleasure to me to be here among the galaxy of software developer and the representative of the government. I have been called to deliver a lecture related to role of academia in development of ICT. Well friends, ICT, what as a teacher we feel, is information and communication technology. You go and check the history of science and technology. Almost every century has been dominated by a single technology. 18th century was the era of great mechanical system, followed by the 19th century steam engine, and at the end of the 20th century it was information generation, information processing, and information transportation. So now the world is dominated by this ICT. But friends, now in this era, this knowledge economy era, can you think differentiating information and communication? No. Now this I and C has merged together. This I and C has married together and has given a new technology, that is the ICT. So the world is working on this collaboration, this interaction, this convergence of ICT. Similarly, I have been called to throw light on interaction, collaboration, bringing academia, industry, and government together. What happens in our country? R&D, research and development, what do you think? Is it a single word or two words? For the developed country like US, Canada, UK and Japan, they are the single word, but for country like us, still it is a two words. Research and development. Research has been given to the academia, let you do research in isolation, and the development has been given to the industry, that you start doing development, and the government is looking after the development. What my friend Atul Sinha was saying, still we are lacking in this part of the country, that still we don't have a more contribution from the academia to the industry. Sir, what happens in the marriage? When information and communication, what we are doing, we are developing a lot of protocols, algorithm, so that this marriage should work together. But if this marriage is not working, what is the first problem? The first problem is a cultural problem. You all have faced in the marriage, we face the problem of the culture. Similarly, the R&D, the academia and the industry, they all are suffering through a cultural problem. Cultural problem means industry is thinking that we are not producing the product as per our requirement, and the academia is thinking, we are thinking beyond what the industry is thinking. Fine. Because industry always needs a applied research. Industry needs to manipulate the nature for their business growth. But academia are not only involved in only the business, they also think the beyond the business, which will be a long-term investment. Just you think the Boolean algebra. George Boole was called a mad mathematician when he gave first the theory of Boolean algebra. It was called, it is a crazy idea, it is not going to work. But friend, he was unfortunate enough that he didn't saw in his lifetime this mathematics is going to change the world. And we all, this ecosystem, ICT is all working on the Boolean algebra. But the industry, can you think the industry might have appreciated at that time this mathematics is of any use? So friends, the industry has to appreciate that the pure research and the applied research both should go together. Fine. So, as I am a professor of electronics, so I might be using my, I want to take permission from you to take my electronics words to define this. As the transistor we have the 3 terminal, so I also think that for the knowledge economy, the industry, academia and the government, we should not think that the government is different. Government has to also come together because it is the government who makes the policy. So we have to devise a policy so that all these 3 bodies, government, industry and academia should come together, they should sit together, so there must not be any cultural mismatch, and so that the society problem and the industry problem can be solved. You go and see the history of Massachusetts, Stanford University, University of Berkeley. You know, more than 7 big industry has been developed by those institutions. They have incubated more than 700 industry, big industry. All those crazy ideas have developed into the industry there. In the university, and that has been translated into the industry. That has been converted into the industry. I was going through the newspaper that 3 to 4 years back, Bill Gates, he was addressing one of the group of the students at Massachusetts. And you know, he gave the 2 ideas that still the medical science is not working on the R&D. It was his problem. Then he gave the idea, still the medical science has not solved the problem of family planning. They have not developed a good measures, they have not developed a good system for the family planning. And you know, he gave this idea to the Massachusetts students, and the Massachusetts students have developed a biological sensor. And that is going to come in the industry. The industry is going to adopt that biological sensor. The second project was given by Bill Gates to develop a flying car, right? To develop a flying car, and those have been developed by the Massachusetts students. That's why I'm saying we should develop a system where the academia and the industry and the government should come together so that the problem of the country can be addressed, right? So we have to throw some few lights. What is the problem? Still there is a problem, what Mr. Sinha is saying. We have a problem at the academic institution that we are giving projects to the students to do MTech program. In the MTech and BTech or PhD program, supervisor is allotting the project as per their interest. And why they are giving the projects? Because still in our country, the teacher gets promotion on the basis of research publications. So they want a good amount of the research publications without knowing what is the outcome of those projects. So the industry should come and they should give the projects. You just give the projects to the student and see what the changes is taking place. I'm just giving you an idea. Before coming to NIT Patna, I was there at BIT Sindri, and there was one DC, Mr. Ajay Kumar. He is in the Jharkhand. He called ISM professor. I was heading electronics and computer science. He called head of BIT Sindri, head of ISM Dhanbad and the other institution. He called and he arranged a meeting. And you know, he gave 4 projects. One project was, he was interested to develop e-Swarajgar software. He also gave one project to the ISM Dhanbad and he attached 10,000 prize money. And you know, you go and check the Dhanbad NIC sites. E-Swarajgar software have been developed by the students of the BIT Sindri, and it was developed within 1 month. He was so happy, he gave 2-3 and no money was involved. And government saved the money. Simply what the DC gave, he gave only a certificate. So our young generation of the today is a generation who wants to cut, who wants to copy and wants to paste. They have a very good idea, innovative idea. It is the ICT which has given us a prestige. It was not the other technology. The India is getting the prestige because of this technology. That technology has changed our body language. I am also giving you a second project. When the Jharkhand was created, carved out of Bihar, NASSCOM meet took place in Kolkata 2002. Mr. Pramod Mahajan was there. He also called the IT secretary of Jharkhand that you come here and present your IT vision of the state. So at that time no IT vision was developed, but the chief minister took the interest and that was given to the IT secretary. So IT secretary at that time was also secretary of the science and technology, and Mr. Tuvi Sahab was the IT secretary. So there was no choice. So somebody gave the idea, why not you are calling the teacher of the BIT Sindri and let you give this. He called me personally that only 3 days are left. Can you do anything? I told him, we will try our best, sir. We sat together with our students and you know, we gave a presentation Calcutta, and that presentation was judged by the chief minister of West Bengal, and the presentation of the Jharkhand was just the best presentation. Still that book is available in the IT department of the Jharkhand. So that was a interaction, a collaboration between the government and the institution. The problem is of the culture. Still we work in isolation. We are not melting our ego. As we all know that when we have to join 2 rods, it has to be warm up. It has to be heated. So first we have to melt our ego system. We have to melt our ego. Then naturally the academia role will be an important role in developing the ICT ecosystem, and in the ICT ecosystem students and the faculty can play a greater role. Just you give those ideas to the student and you see the results. Still, I am taking permission from the government officers who are present here, still we are using the commercial software in a large amount. Why not we should develop those software in the open source code? You call the students of IIT and NIT Patna, and I do promise you that within a stipulated time, they will give you the solution. So you try to develop in the department of the IT platform to bring all those students, the best student, and give some societal problem that will be solved. So the academia have a greater role, but those roles only can be utilized and optimized if we are coming together, bringing together academia, industry, all. The academy can provide some short-term program for the industry. Similarly, the industry can arrange a short-term visits for the faculty so that the faculty can see what is happening there in the industry. The major problem in the academia is that 80% of our faculty is not having the industrial exposure. We appreciate and we accept this fact. Because of that, we are not working a industrial problem. So let the industry should give us the problem. So I think the 80%, if the projects are coming from the industry, that will be highly appreciated and that will be contributed to the development of the country economy. So with these facts, I want to conclude that I should give thanks to the organizer that they have called a master like us on this platform. So we are sharing this idea. Let these ideas should be implemented into some commercial product that can only happen if this industry, academia and the government collaboration we are strengthening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor D. You reverted back the ball that I have pushed towards you, the shuttle that I have pushed towards academia. Very nicely, you pushed it back to the government and pushed it back to the industry. I really feel the way you expressed it, the way you narrated it, it really need a huge round of applause. I think everybody would agree. But the crux lies here that Professor D.K. Singh has given a very pertinent clue in his talk. बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण बात उन्होंने अपनी बात में बहुत सरलता से बताई है और कम से कम मुझे तो ये बात बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझ में आ रही है. मुझे उम्मीद है कि यहाँ पे बैठे हुए और लोग हैं वो भी इस बात को अप्रिशिएट करेंगे that academia is ready to take up the challenge. It is probably the industry, it is probably the government. We people sitting in the government are not offering the opportunities to academia. I fully agree to you, Professor Singh, and I take a note of it, and I feel that this would be probably one of the most important point emerging out of this session of this workshop, that academia, especially the two premium institutions that Bihar is fortunate to have, IIT Patna and NIIT Patna, in recent past they have shown a very good progress on the path of developing their institution, developing their students, and I feel कि हम अगर कोई भी उनको प्रोजेक्ट ऑफर करते हैं वो आईटी पॉलिसी विजन के बनाने से लेकर के और एक्चुअल सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट तक की अगर कोई भी चीज हम उन्हें ऑफर करते हैं तो दे कैन हैंडल इट सक्सेसफुली and they are ready to take up the challenge. That is the biggest part. Thank you very much for giving such a clear picture on this for this session and taking it forward. I would like to request now Mr. Sanjeevan Sinha, who is Managing Director of Bihar State Education Infrastructure Development Corporation and also Project Director of Midday Meal. He is a very noted and eminent activist in education sector. He has his own DAC. Many people present here would be knowing about Mr. Sanjeevan Sinha. He has his own knack on the work he does. He has his own ideas centric to IT platforms for monitoring, for developing. He may probably like to discuss some of the initiatives that he has taken in his corporation for effective monitoring of education systems and for so many things. I'm sure that his talk would be really giving us good vision onto the topic. Over to Mr. Sanjeev Sinha.
Thank you, Atilji. Good afternoon to all of you. I think so many words, those are not justified over me. Anyway, coming to the topic, role of academia in the growth of ICT education. Before saying anything, I remember an advertisement over televisions which is running for the last 2-3 months. Either a boy or a housewife tells, I am a student of IIN, an idea advertisement which is quite frequently coming over these days. In fact, this advertisement some way summarizes the situation which is in offering. So, to visit this topic, I will try to understand what we mean by the term education, or to say educational system, since academia will be probably the same thing, educational system. Educational system generally have broadly 3 components. First being, we may term it as infrastructure. Infrastructure means either where the educational system is housed or the educational process is conducted. Both need some type of infrastructure. The second part, we may club it, is the human part of the system, the HR part, which is well reflected commonly in teachers. And the third one, the teaching learning process itself. So what? Now we will have to see how far IT has affected or it is affecting all these components of the education system. Let us come first to the infrastructure. It is quite obvious now that the infrastructure required for an educational system to be set up and to run is quite different now which was earlier at least 10-12 years back. So IT has, the ICT overall, all the component of the ICT has come to play a big role in designing an educational system. The definition of infrastructure has changed. The same thing is coming with the teachers. Teacher with IT enablement are the teachers who are come to stay and survive and sustain, not the traditional one. The third component, the teaching learning process. IT has again become an integral part of this process. So in the present scenario, when we visit the educational system, we find it's not the same one which was earlier 10, 12 or 15 years back. If this is the scenario, what is the challenge for the academia to address in the different or the situation which we see here? I personally find that the traditional thinking of first going for the infrastructure, then deciding the teacher, and then coming to the learning process has to be reversed. You will just recall I started my speech with the idea advertisement. That advertisement just reschedule our process. The first thing has to happen is the teaching learning process, then the human component, and then the enabling infrastructure. Probably on this forum I am criticizing the existing policy, but the existing policy is that first we think about infrastructure, then human part, then the teaching learning process. Probably the scenario has changed, we have to think over it, that we have to reverse the process. First think about the learning teaching process, go for the required enabled teachers, and then for the whatever required in the form of infrastructure. Second part, our topic here is what are the role academia can play in growth of ICT education. ICT education, just visit this term, ICT education itself is a part of education, and in another way ICT education is also assisting other type of educations. So there are two prone role. One is enhancement of ICT capabilities and another is the enhancement of role of ICT in other educations, which has been already clearly described and explained by my predecessors who have just talked to you. So one additional point, the one additional thing which I find, just want to remind you, that in the traditional environment the educational process was somewhere assisted by educational market. I am just calling it educational market. Educational market is a common place where either the content or the process is given by somebody and received by somebody. So the traditional educational market was primarily dominated by print one. And we in our local term say that this market was happening in Patna somewhere in Ashok Rajpath and in Delhi somewhere in Daryaganj. So this educational market is in a way withering away. The traditional educational market is just squeezing down, coming smaller, and it has to be replaced by virtual educational market. And probably there is a challenge as well as opportunity also. Right now I feel the virtual educational market has not come up to the level of market. Market means free competition, free offering and free choice. But right now whatever so-called virtual educational market is available, that is in the field of content. Some coaching type of designed contents are available. There the customer has not that choice like purchasing a shoe or a chocolate or a electronics gadget. In all other commodities, customer is the king. But still in the educational market, whatever is available over internet, there is the clientele, like monopoly market is there, you have to subscribe something. In fact, we use the word is the subscription model is available right now in the educational market. We have to go a long way from this subscription model to free competitive market model. So I think it's a great opportunity for the academia to think about that, how we can develop the virtual educational market where the producer of the content or the teachers or the researchers are in a comfortable and very good position to create something, sustain something and sell something. At the same point, a receiver or a purchaser of the educational content is free to purchase something with sufficient number of choices. So this is the one area I would like to just bring to your notice. Apart from other things which has been covered, that there is a need for industrial and academic collaboration, interaction, at the same time policy as well as research and development coordination, all those are required things. But this is the one specific point which I wanted to just bring to your notice. And as Atul Sinha has told that, in fact, on my own in the government, We have also initiated some smaller steps in these areas, and I am right now holding the managing director post in a corporation. It's Educational Infrastructure Development Corporation, and we have initiated the process. We have already just uploaded a website. It's Vidya Vihar websites. This is one step forward. We are going towards virtual educational market. All the free content we have already clubbed there, and in future we will be trying even the paid content are there with a further target of providing choices to the user or the purchaser, at the same time facilities and abilities for a researcher or a teacher to produce the content. Thank you.
अब दो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट बात इन्होंने कही जो आई ऑल्सो टेंड टू एग्री, which I would like to substantiate with an example. He said that we need to reverse the cycle of creating infrastructure first, manpower second, and then the Pathan teaching learning process. He said that we need to do it in reverse order. First we should start the teaching learning, then we should have the manpower, and then we should try to create the infrastructure that is required as per the requirement. I fully agree to you, Mr. Sanjeevan, in this regard. एक example आप लोगों को देना चाहता हूँ, और not that sitting in government I cannot think of even criticizing government policies. It is a matter of taking a pragmatic view on the prevailing government policy and trying to take an initiative to do something to correct it wherever it is really required. I think this kind of a forum are very, very important to discuss these issues. Otherwise, in our daily routine, we are so busy dealing with unnecessary files and unnecessary things that we hardly have any time to invest on these academic issues. मैं आपसे सबसे शेयर करना चाहता हूं, और मुझे कोई हेजिटेशन नहीं है आपसे ये बताने में, कहने में, कि अभी थोड़े दिन पहले हम लोगों ने एक बहुत जबरदस्त, बहुत बढ़िया पॉलिटेक्निक का एक इंस्टीट्यूशन इनॉग्रेट किया. ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी ने मधुबनी जिला में. द साइज ऑफ द बिल्डिंग, द काइंड ऑफ द बिल्डिंग I had gone and seen was amazing. You would be surprised to know that 48 crore rupees is the cost, capital cost of making that building. 48 crore rupees. And the building is ready for the last 3-4 months. At the best, if we use our best offices in the most efficient manner, probably we will be able to start the academic session from August. मगर उसमें पढ़ाने वाले टीचर्स का अभी कोई इंतजाम मेरे पास नहीं है. उसमें पढ़ाने के लिए किसी भी एक भी टीचर का मेरे पास कोई इंतजाम नहीं है. फॉर्चुनेटली बिहार पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन के थ्रू हम लोगों ने पोस्ट एडवर्टाइज कर दी है. एज डायरेक्टर ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट आई एम टेकिंग प्राइड इन आई एम सेटिस्फाइंग माई सेल्फ बाई सेइंग कि साहब हमने तो बिहार पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन के थ्रू पोस्ट एडवर्टाइज करा दी है, अब इससे बेहतर हम क्या कर सकते थे. बट द फैक्ट रिमेन्स कि 48 करोड़ का सरकार का इन्वेस्टमेंट, पब्लिक एक्सचेकर का इन्वेस्टमेंट हो गया. पिछले 3 साल से वो बिल्डिंग बन रही थी, अलग अलग फेजेज में अलग अलग पैसे खर्च हुए होंगे, और नवंबर या दिसंबर में वो बिल्डिंग पूरी तरह से बनके तैयार हो गई. हम लोगों ने उसको जनवरी में इनॉग्रेट कर दिया, और अगर हमें AICTE से अप्रूवल मिल गया तो हम अगस्त से उसमें क्लासेस शुरू कर पाएंगे. और टीचर्स की कोई गारंटी नहीं है, क्योंकि BPSC ने अभी अपना प्रोसेस ऑन किया है. नॉर्मली 6 महीना से 1 साल लगता है. हम तो कोशिश कर रहे हैं, उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि जुलाई अगस्त तक टीचर्स आ जाएं. और 1 दर्जन केसेस हैं, कोर्ट केसेस हैं. अभी 1 डजन हाई कोर्ट में केसेस हैं, जिसको हम ट्राई कर रहे हैं कि उन केसेस को हम सॉर्ट आउट कर लें और जल्दी से जल्दी उस प्रोसेस को आगे बढ़ाएं. ये एग्जाम्पल हमने मिस्टर संजीवन सिन्हा की इस बहुत रेलिवेंट एंड पर्टिनेंट बात के लिए कहा कि गवर्नमेंट का पैसा आखिर हम सब लोगों का पैसा है. गवर्नमेंट जो भी पैसा खर्च करती है वो पब्लिक एक्सचेकर है, वो हम सब के टैक्स पेयर्स का ही पैसा है। और वहां पे अगर ये प्रोसेस करेक्शन पॉसिबल हो सके कि पहले हम किसी द मोमेंट वी कंसेप्चुअलाइज एन आइडिया ऑफ ओपनिंग एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन, वी शुड फर्स्ट थिंक ऑफ, वी शुड फर्स्ट टॉक ऑफ स्टार्टिंग द पठन पाठन। पहले रेंटेड बिल्डिंग में, कहीं एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम्स में पठन पाठन पहले शुरू हो जाना चाहिए, मैन पावर का इंतजाम कर लिया जाना चाहिए और पैरेलल में फिर हमें ह्यूज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स क्रिएट करने की दिशा में प्रयास करना चाहिए। संजीवन सिन्हा जी चूंकि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एजुकेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर हैं, शायद ये पीड़ा उनकी उसी वजह से है कि वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स क्रिएट कर देते होंगे और पढ़ाई उसमें बहुत देर में शुरू हो पाती होगी, या जो और गवर्नमेंट से रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स होते होंगे वो रहते होंगे। तो निश्चित रूप से मैं समझ सकता हूं कि कितना इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट वो ब्रॉट डाउन करना चाहते थे इस फोरम पे, और आई फुली एग्री टू दैट एंड आई फील दैट फॉर माई टेक्निकल एजुकेशन सिस्टम ऑल्सो, जहां जहां पे हम लोग एकेडमिक ह्यूज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, अभी अराउंड 1 डजन और रादर 14 पॉलिटेक्निक्स जो हैं वो प्रोसेस में है बनाए जाने के, एंड सबकी लागत करीब 40 करोड़ 42 करोड़ 48 करोड़ है। ह्यूज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिल्डिंग हम लोग क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, मगर उसको जब तक यूटिलाइज ना कर सकें, उसमें लैब सेटअप ना कर सकें, उसमें मैन पावर प्रोवाइड करके, कॉम्पिटेंट मैन पावर प्रोवाइड करके उसमें रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट वर्क ना शुरू कर सकें, तब तक वो इसमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर किस काम का है। तो फ्रेंड्स, ये एक पोर्शन था इनकी बात का, और दूसरी बात इन्होंने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कही कि जो ई लर्निंग है वो it is emerging as the future technology, future ICT intervention towards learning and teaching and learning process. I fully agree to him. This is a challenge as well as an opportunity also, opportunity for the industry, opportunity for the academicians, opportunity for the academia, and definitely a challenge for the bureaucracy, for the government system to implement it efficiently, gainfully and properly, so that the actual benefit is accrued to the student. That is the most important part. Friends, इस ये सेशन अपने एंड के टुवर्ड्स प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है, और मैं यहाँ पे उपस्थित जो डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं उनसे उनको बस 2 इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बताना चाहता हूँ कि पिछले हम गवर्नमेंट में बड़ा स्लो प्रोग्रेस होता है, हम लोग कोई भी काम करने की कोशिश करते हैं, बड़ा स्लो प्रोग्रेस होता है, मगर पिछले 1 वर्ष में 2 बहुत अच्छे डेवलपमेंट हुए हैं जो एकेडमिया के रोल डेवलपमेंट में जो रोल होना चाहिए उसके संबंध में। नंबर 1, IIT पटना में एक इनोवेशन सेंटर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से सैंक्शन हुआ है, और उस प्रोजेक्ट को जो 2 प्रोफेसर्स पायनियर कर रहे हैं वो लकीली अभी हमारे बीच में मौजूद हैं, प्रोफेसर बैंक, एंड आप अभी इनसे मिले, जस्ट मिसिंग द नेम, प्रोफेसर प्रीतम। मैं प्रोफेसर बैंक से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा एक बार इफ यू कुड शो हिज फेस टू द ऑडियंस। प्रोफेसर प्रीतम इज ऑलरेडी हियर। बोथ दीज प्रोफेसर्स आर स्पीयरहेडिंग द प्रोजेक्ट ऑफ IT इनोवेशन सेंटर इन IIT पटना। ये 50 करोड़ रुपए का प्रोजेक्ट है जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने ऑलरेडी सैंक्शन कर दिया है। 25 करोड़ रुपए भारत सरकार दे रही है और 25 करोड़ रुपए बिहार सरकार का कंट्रीब्यूशन है। इस फोरम पे मैं खुद के लिए भी वो क्रेडिट लेना चाहूंगा दैट आई हैव इनिशिएटेड दैट थिंग विद द हेल्प ऑफ IIT पटना। दैट प्रोजेक्ट वाज फ्रेम्ड, आई रिमेंबर फुली वेल कि कैसे इन दोनों प्रोफेसर साहब लोगों ने मिलकर के उसके इनिशियल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट्स तैयार किए। हम बार बार IIT पटना जाते थे, प्रेजेंटेशंस होते थे, हम लोग डिस्कस करते थे, फिर वापस आके डिपार्टमेंट से कुछ फीडबैक्स जाते थे, इनपुट जाते थे, फिर वो मॉडिफाई हो करके एंड फाइनली इट वाज सेंट टू गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। एंड फॉर्चुनेट एनफ बिहार इज, पूरे इंडिया में शायद 5 या 7 स्टेट्स में ही वो क्रिएट हो रहा है और बिहार भी उसमें है। और अभी हाल में ही हमें डॉक्टर प्रीतम ने बताया और कि ये बहुत जल्द विदाउट वेटिंग, ये जो बिहटा में नया कैंपस IIT का बना है वहां पे ही ये इसका फुल फ्लेज में इसका जो शेड है, इसका जो वर्किंग प्लेस है वो डेवलप किया जाएगा, इसका उसी कैंपस में डेवलप किया जाएगा। बट विदाउट वेटिंग मच फॉर दैट, ये एक छोटे से कहीं स्पेस लेकर के, कहीं सेटअप लेकर के ये लोग उस कार्यक्रम को शुरू करना चाहते हैं। और ये पॉइंट हमने यहाँ पे इसीलिए मेंशन किया कि संजीवन सिन्हा जी ने अभी जो एक डॉक्ट्राइन दिया, एक फिलॉसफी दिया कि पहले हमें एक्टिविटी शुरू करनी चाहिए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो बाद में भी डेवलप हो सकता है। तो हमारे आईआईटी पटना के द्वारा उसी तरह का काम करने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि कम से कम जो इंक्यूबेशन इनोवेशन के लिए जो वर्क है वो पहले शुरू हो जाए और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पैरेलली वहां पे डेवलप हो ही रहा है, पैरेलली डेवलप हो रहा है। शायद भारत सरकार से पहली जो लॉट ऑफ फंड्स है वो अभी रिलीज होने वाली है इधर हाल के 10-15 दिनों में ही, और उसके बाद बिहार सरकार भी रिलीज करेगी, वो काम आगे बढ़ेगा। लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं कि हमारे यहाँ पे बिहार से ज्यादातर बिहार के लोग उपलब्ध हैं। बिहार सरकार की, आईआईटी पटना की और हम सब लोगों के लिए ये जो एक उपलब्धि है कि बहुत जल्द एकेडमिया के हेल्प से एक इनोवेशन सेंटर एस्टैब्लिश होगा, जहां पे बिहार के स्टूडेंट्स, बिहार के एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जाके अपने आइडियाज को डेवलप कर पाएंगे। कुछ नई चीज अगर सोच रहे हैं तो उसको डेवलप कर पाएंगे, उसके डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स के बारे में गाइडेंस मिल पाएंगे और उसको एक सक्सेसफुल कमर्शियल वेंचर में कन्वर्ट होने के लिए जिन भी इंग्रेडिएंट्स की आवश्यकता होती है वो रेडीमेडली हमारे एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन आईआईटी पटना द्वारा प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा। आई थिंक इट डिजर्व्स अ बिग राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज, बिग हैंड फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस हु आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग। The second point, which in last 1 year there is another development that a very similar initiative was also taken by us last in 1 year back. That was for creating a incubation center in BIT Mesra. किसी वजह से बीच में कुछ चीजें आगे नहीं बढ़ रही थी, बट इस फोरम की वजह से 1 महीने में उसमें भी काफी प्रोग्रेस हुई है और इनिशियल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट के लिए उनसे बीआईटी पटना से वो इनिशियल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट मांगा गया है। और अभी उनके वाइस चांसलर जो आईआईटी बॉम्बे के एक प्रोफेसर मिश्रा हैं, वो अभी 4-5 दिन पहले आए थे, मेरी उनसे मीटिंग हुई है एंड ही हैज अश्योर्ड दैट इन 1 month टाइम, 1 to 1.5 month टाइम वो एक प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट सबमिट करेंगे इनोवेशन सेंटर खोलने, इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर खोलने के लिए बीआईटी पटना में। और बिहार सरकार इन प्रिंसिपल ऑलरेडी उसको कैबिनेट का अप्रूवल मिल चुका है, बिहार सरकार अप्रूव करेगी और वो भी एक नया एकेडमिक इंटरवेंशन से एक डेवलपमेंट का, स्टेट के डेवलपमेंट का, स्टेट के स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के डेवलपमेंट के लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म होगा। सो आई थॉट दैट फॉर दिस session's topic, these are two very relevant information which I wanted to pass through it. Thank you very much for patient listening to this session. Thank you.
In fact, now we will, after such an encouraging session and lots of learning from this session, I would like Mr. Kanchan Kapoor to please, have a token of appreciation to be provided to our speakers. Mr. Pritam Kumar, Mr. Sanjeevan Sinha. Professor Pritam Kumar. Professor D.K. Singh. And Shri Atul Sinha. Yeah. We'd like to have a group photograph of the panelists. What we are doing